Welcome to the Board of License Commissioners September 13th meeting. We have 6 items on the agenda. Agenda item number 4 is not going to be heard today. They were missing a sign-off on the sign-off sheet, so that's going to come back. It'll probably be heard on the 27th of this month. And before we start, I'd just like to read the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. We have a full board today. We have Captain Dugan sitting in for Chief Keenan. He's a regular member of the board and has been here many times in the past. We're going to start right away with agenda item number 1, hearing regarding the request of the Let's Stop Cancer Foundation for a special use permit for a 5K family fun run, Sunday, October 23rd, 2016. In Squantum, and this is Pamela O'Brien. Come right up, Pamela.
How are you?
Very good, very good. How are you today?
This is Kevin Doherty.
Thank you for
Okay. Why don't you tell us what's going on with the Let's Stop Cancer Foundation?
So Kevin's the speaker for me.
Okay.
Right, so we're doing a 5K at Squantum, and it's basically for a fund called Let's Stop Cancer now, to help people in need. And basically we're shooting for the October 23rd, and we have mapped out as well also.
Yeah, I actually have copies for you. So
We have the insurance as well for
and the route is on the flat bottom as well. Do you need another? Thank you. Oh, there you go.
And here's we made a letter as well, basically what about the fund, all funds, all proceeds go to
Oh, thank you.
to
And
people
this
in
is
need.
what we're at.
We help people if they can't pay the mortgages, or they can't do car payments, or if their kids are sick, if they have cancer, and we can't keep up with payments.
And we're going to be serving any food afterwards? We're going to have any type of, no, it's just a 5K run?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions by anybody in the audience? Seeing none, I'll close it. Board members? Mr. Dugan.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the Let's Stop Cancer Foundation for a special use permit for a 5K family fun run, Sunday, October 23rd, 2016, in Squantum, represented by Pamela O'Brien. Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Let's Stop Cancer Foundation for a special use permit for a 5K family fun run, Sunday, October 23rd, 2016 in Squantum. There's no rain date, right?
No.
Rain or shine. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set, okay?
Thank you very
Thanks so
much.
much.
Good luck, all right?
Thank you.
Agenda item number 2, hearing regarding the request of the Little Hearts, Inc. for a 1-day special use permit, Saturday, October 22nd. The Irish Pub, 51 Billings Road. Mr. Kevin Glennon.
Hi.
How are you today, Kevin?
Good, thanks for seeing me.
Always a pleasure having you guys up here. What year is this for the Little Hearts?
We're claiming it's the 15th, because we skipped a
15th?
year and it's kind of hard to count.
I was gonna say it is about 15, because I've been on the board.
Yeah, the kid we
14
started,
years.
the kid we started it for is a sophomore at North Quincy High, he's on the marching band, and we couldn't be any happier. Or should I say the kid that inspired us to do it, not the kid who did it before, we do it for all the kids now. So just quickly, Little Hearts, we raised money for this nonprofit that helped us out at Quincy resident years ago. Kids and families dealing with heart defects. They do a lot of free services for these kids and families, and this is their major fundraiser now. We raise about 40 grand for them every year. This year, I believe we're about to break the $500,000 mark in almost 15 years.
What are the odds?
The hours, I believe I have it down as 10:30 to 1:30. What we're doing is, this is a 2-month fundraiser, and then we just bring everyone to meet the kids and do some speeches, and we use the parking lot behind the Irish Pub.
We serve alcohol there too.
We do, oh, yeah.
This is a temporary 1-day extension of price.
Yes. It's a good way to get people up at 10:30. Normally they go later if we don't give them a beer.
And what are the hours again?
10:30 to 1:30. We usually clear out before that, but just in case, because we won't have time to clean up and stuff.
That's 1:30 in the afternoon, right?
In the afternoon,
Yeah, so I
yes.
thought it's an early event. Any members of the audience have any comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll close. Board members? Mr. Duca.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Little Hearts, Inc. for a one-day special use permit extension of premises, Saturday, October 22nd, at the Irish Pub, 51 Billings Road, represented by Mr. Kevin Galendo. Second.
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Little Hearts, Inc. for a one-day special use permit extension of premise, Saturday, October 22nd, at the Irish Pub, 51 Billings Road, represented by Mr. Kevin Glennon. All in favor? Aye. You're all set.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, I hope it's really successful, okay?
Me too, thank you.
Agenda item number 3, come on up, Jim. Hearing regarding the request of the Quincy Historical Society in Adams Street for a one-day special use wine and malt license for a fundraiser September 29th, 6:30 to 10 p.m. And this is not Jim Edwards here. Jim Edwards is in the audience.
This is Jim.
That's Jim.
Jim Edwards, Jim
Ed Fitzgerald.
Ed Fitzgerald.
I get him Dr. Ed.
A famous Jim Edwards.
Yes. Okay, so why don't you tell us what we're doing over there at
Hardly,
the
but
Historical Society?
again, Jim Edwards, I'm representing the Quincy Historical Society. On September 29th, the society is planning a fundraiser, which will take the form of a silent and small live auction to attempt to raise badly needed funds for the society. Hosting the event will be Sheriff Mike Bellotti, lots of good prizes. There will be, what we seek today is a food and beer and wine license. The event will be catered by the Fuji Group, and hours of the event are 6 to 10 o'clock. So that's basically what we're. Did I miss anything, Ed?
That's it.
Our esteemed executive director is here to make sure I don't miss anything. So, anyway,
And,
thank you, Cindy, for helping us.
yeah, and Jim got the raffle permit.
Yeah, we got the raffle.
Yes, I
Okay.
okay. We have that raffle permit in hand. Lots of good gifts. The mayor is donating towards City Hall. Senators Keenan and Representatives Ayers and Taki Chan are giving towards the Senate and the House of Representatives. Chief Barron's going to hopefully help us out with something.
Kids slide down the pole.
Kids, I don't want to do that.
See, you'd raise a lot of money with that, the slide pole.
That's right.
We've taken most of them out.
Oh.
But,
Didn't sign a waiver.
yeah, but Chief Barron has been very kind in trying to assist us. Maybe kids, chief for the day, kind of prize that we could raffle up. So, Chief Keenan is also trying to help us with that tour. The fire of the police station. So a lot of public support for this event, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. So.
Good. Anybody in the audience have any comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll close. Board members.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of the Quincy Historical Society, 8 Adams Street, for a one-day special use wine and malt license for a fundraiser September 29th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., represented by Jim Edwards.
Second. Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Quincy Historical Society, 8 Adams Street, for a one-day special use wine and malt license for a fundraiser September 29th, 6:30 to 10 p.m. Catered by the Fuji Group, and it's represented by Mr. Jim Edwards. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you,
Good luck.
Mr. Chairman. Thanks, everybody.
Good luck.
I appreciate it. We'll need it.
Agenda item number 5, hearing regarding the request of Fuji at Walk, Inc., 1420 Hancock Street, David Dang, manager, for change of location and transfer of the CV All Alcohol Restaurant and Entertainment License held by B&J, Inc., DBA Fuji, 1546 Hancock Street. Mr. Tony Liang.
How you doing? I'm just going to quickly set up.
Oh, he's moving the motion. Yeah. Yes. No, I didn't say it already. Get a transfer. I'll make sure.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak. So we were proposed to transfer our alcohol license, CV, and entertainment license from 1546 Hancock Street down to 1420 Hancock Street, which is the Fuji West of Chestnut location. We are actually hoping to open sometime in the end of October, and the space is going to be a 4,800 square foot restaurant with a bar and a sushi bar, and we're actually going to have a outdoor patio. There's going to be 4 means of egress, and as far as the operation is concerned, we plan on closing Fuji 1546 and moving everybody over to the new space. And for the old location, we do plan on changing concept, which will come before the board again. As far as the restaurant itself, this is the Hancock Street side. The Bank of America building is right here, and Fuji 1546 and Alba's is down that way. This is the main entrance. Upon entry, this will be the host station, and this is going to be the dining room one, where we can separate it into private dining, and then over to the left, we have the service bar, and also some cocktail style seating with the sushi bar following, with kind of like a more intimate dining room on the left side, and then the restrooms are in fact here. As far as the finishes, we try to make this one of the best Fujis we're going to have, because this is going to be a limited location, and we take all of our experience and also our design expertise and construction expertise to make sure that this is basically the best looking restaurant that we have as of right now. David Dang here is going to be our general manager, and he is also the manager on record. He is tip certified and also serve safe certified, and all of our staff are 100% tip certified as well. And any new staff that comes on board, we will also have them get tip certified.
So my only question right now, before I open it up to the audience, is do you have the read cards for the mailings?
Great, thank you. Thank you.
You're gonna just give us one more quick for the old location. It's gonna be closed down completely. Everything's gonna get moved over, whatever you're gonna have to move over. And then, once this is up and running, you're gonna reassess and do something else with the old location, correct? And then you'll come back before us again.
Correct.
This license that is being transferred it's not one of the downtown licenses. This is a license that was issued to Fuji Group long before the downtown licenses were approved. He's just moving it from one spot to another. If they wanted to sell this license 2 years from now and move it to West Quincy, they can do that with this license. It's not one of the licenses that is restricted to the downtown area. So, you're all set with your presentation?
One thing I do want to add is I know it's a concern of the board and also the city in regards to the patio. The most asked common question is basically how we're going to make sure that alcohol doesn't leave the premise and basically go onto the street, and how a customer can't just order a drink and then just walk off on the street, or a non-patron come up to a table and take a drink and then walk down the street. So this is going to be the patio area, and we're going to have the main entrance and exit at this door over here. We will have a second handicap accessible entrance on this side, but it will not be used as of right now. We're going to relocate some of these tables so that it will be accessible. But as far as the barrier here, it's going to be enclosed with fencing. So it's going to look similar to this. It's basically metal fencing that goes around. And as far as the covering is concerned, we're proposing to do a covering on the top of the patio where at nighttime these blinds can actually come down. It's not like the metal grates that you see that will pull down for security purposes. This is actually sheer, almost like a vinyl material that's electronic, and it rolls down. And on the top of the shelter itself, you can attach lights and also heaters. I don't know whether or not or who I should go to actually get that part approved. So I do want to bring it up so that it's not
Right here at the very end of the table. Well, Chief Barron.
So have you talked to anybody about this outdoor patio, to anybody?
not.
How many people are you talking sitting in there?
Approximately. Approximately, I would say between 16 to 20.
And this is going to be on the city sidewalk?
This is From what I've told from the landlord, it is private property.
It is part of the property. It's a wide sidewalk, but West of Chestnut owns a certain amount. And is that part of your lease?
It's part of the house.
It is, okay. So the structure, where that there was any structure that was allowed in the certificate of consistency with that building, that's something I think we have to look at. I'm not saying we're opposed to it, it looks very nice, but you're asking a good question.
Sure. Maybe early next week, John and I will come back to see what the process is.
Yeah, are you planning on having that open this year, or is this seasonal?
We would like to have it season round, but our top priority right now is to get the restaurant itself open. We would like to open the patio as soon as possible, but obviously we would like to go through the appropriate proceedings and get the approval before we actually do it.
What I might suggest is to contact my office and maybe apply for a separate license for an extension of premise. That would be an extension of premise, wouldn't it?
Well, it's included in the application right now.
It is.
It is included in the
For
application.
year round.
Not year round. It's an outdoor patio. Our outdoor patios go from Patriots Day until Columbus Day.
Why don't we visit that at a future license board meeting as soon as possible? And I'll look into the permitting side of the structure and try to get an answer for the questions you asked.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We'll do that right away.
And what you have right there is a sample of what you've done on other projects?
No, this is actually the shelter that we plan on ordering. It's actually, we don't construct it ourselves, we order it and they actually come do the install, but these are not our restaurants.
I'm sorry?
These are not our restaurants.
So it's just a sample?
I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. If you want to make it clean and
I mean, we can give
Give
them
the license.
We can give them the license for the extension of the premise
yeah.
through Patriots Day to Columbus Day, and then you can revisit the structure and how it has to be built.
Yeah, we
We can approve it here,
Yeah.
and then the structure and that will all fall under your purview.
The heat is propane.
Yeah, if it's a propane, if you're gonna have heaters out there, whether they're propane, that's something you'd have to deal with fire prevention, and they'd have to do walkthrough and make sure everything's fire safety rated, any materials that are gonna be used, so that would go, and again, that can all be addressed after it's approved during the construction, because it's not built out yet, right? And when do we plan on occupying the space?
We're hoping the end of October.
End of October, so it's still a couple months. a month
You don't have
and a
any-
half away.
You don't have any permits yet for, not even the inside?
For the inside, we
You do.
we do not want anything for the outside.
Okay. So you can, why don't you apply for that structure outside right away? Yeah.
I suggest if you're going to use any sort of heating, that you include that as well and not use propane, it's just in a traffic area. So it's something electric.
The ones that we're planning to use are the electric ones. Really, it's not just the ceiling, it's electric, and
Yeah,
I think it's like a heat, like almost like a building.
Yeah.
When you have that all together, apply for a permit right away, send in the document information.
Any members of the audience have any comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll close it. Board members, any other comments or questions? I do know that it was advertised in the Patriot Ledger.
No.
No. We did. Properly advertised, we have our business cards back for the notice to abutters. All the Tory forms are done, all the corporate vote of the board is all here. Checks are here, the transfer of license checklist is all set. Everything was signed off. Paul McCarthy on 7/15, William DeCali on 7/14. Emergency contact form has all been filled out. And with that, I'm just gonna add that, you know, anytime you guys have done anything in the city, it's always been absolutely beautiful, top shelf. I can't say enough how impressed I am with the way that you guys clean up buildings and make them absolutely beautiful, down in both Quincy and up here in Quincy Center, so. Board members, any other comments, questions?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Fuji at WOC Inc., 1420 Hancock Street, David Dang, manager, for a change of location, transfer of the CV all alcohol restaurant and entertainment licenses held by BNJ Inc., DBA Fuji, 1546 Hancock Street, represented by Mr. Tony Lamb.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of the Fuji at Walk Inc., 1420 Hancock Street, David Dang, manager, for the change of location and the transfer of the CV all alcohol restaurant and entertainment licenses held by BNJ Inc., DBA Fuji, 1546 Hancock Street, represented by Mr. Tony Liang. All in favor?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
so much.
Tony, one other thing, on the hours for the outside patio. The city, as a board, they are 11 o'clock at night is when it gets shut down.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, hearing regarding the request of Edway Liquors Enterprise Inc., DBA, Illinois Liquor, 637 Southern Avenue, Eddie Yasmin, manager, for the transfer of the retail all alcohol package store license presently held by Fowl Yasmin, represented by Councilor John Aida.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, John Aida, Casa Sinclair, from the Park Quincy. This is Eddie Yasmin. Eddie is the current manager of record at Colony Liquors. It's at 637 Southern Artery. We're here on an application for a transfer of the license. The existing license was issued to his father, Fawad Yasmin, in his own name as a sole proprietor. Yasmin is getting up there in age, and Eddie's been there involved since it was opened approximately 15 years ago. So this is part of the transfer. It's actually a gift transfer to the corporation that's going to be owned by Eddie and his wife, Way Yasmin, and that corporation, Edway Liquor Enterprise thing. So it's a transfer by gift from his father, the individual, to the corporation. The day-to-day operations can remain the same. Eddie will still remain on as the manager of record, and he's had no violations or concerns before this board. He's done a really good job with that location. So it is straightforward in terms of a transfer. Again, the day-to-day operations are going to be identical under Eddie's management. If you have any questions or comments for Eddie or myself, I'd be more than happy to take.
Anybody in the audience have any comments, questions before I turn it over to the board? Seeing none, we'll close that section. It was already properly advertised in the Quincy Sun on September 1st. All the other paperwork is in order, emergency contact forms. I'd just like to ask Lieutenant Tarowski, everything's fine up at all?
Everything's good,
Never had
no
any
problem
issues?
whatsoever.
That's great, that's great. Always make sure you ask for an ID, that's all I'm gonna say. Board members, comments, questions, motion?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Edway Liquor Enterprises Inc., doing business as Old Colony Liquors, 637 Southern Artery, Eddie Yasmin, manager, for transfer of the retail all alcohol package store license presently held by Faoud Yasmin, represented by Attorney John Aida.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to grant the request of Edway Liquors Enterprises Inc., DBA, Old Colony Liquors, 637 Southern Artery, Eddie Yasmin, manager, for the transfer of the retail all alcohol package store license presently held by Faoud Yasmin, represented by John Aida. All in favor? Aye. You're all set. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 7. Hearing regarding the request of MDB Inc., DBA, Cagney's Restaurant, 214 Washington Street, Mark Malone, manager, for alteration of the premise, outside patio, 1,200 square feet of the existing all-alcohol restaurant license, represented by Mark Malone. Mark, why don't you come up and tell us what, we have all of the green cards already returned. This was advertised on September 1st in the Quincy Sun.
Hey, how are you? So, basically, since we celebrate our 25th year open, we had that outdoor anniversary party that we got the extension of premise permit for. Huge success, had great, great feedback from the neighborhood, great feedback from our patrons. Had to bring on some more staff, worked out well for everybody. That blossomed the idea of turning the kind of dead real estate to the left of Cagney's that I own, which is a one-car driveway where I park my car every day, a dumpster, oil barrels, kind of shrubbery overgrown, kind of a little bit of a mess, to landscape it beautifully and put in a approximately 1,200 square foot patio, fenced in with cedar fencing along the sides and a 6-foot wrought iron fence along the front so that we can secure it at night, keep everybody out. We're anticipating probably around 50 seats. The investment is going to be somewhere around $75,000 on top of the investment I've already put in to purchase that block and renovate it. We'll be able to monitor. I talked to Cindy and to the ABCC about how we would monitor this, where it's a little bit outside of the restaurant. There's not a direct window, so we're going to hire people that will just be out there the way manager on duty. Every time it's open, somebody will be standing there to make sure that everything is run properly. I believe I spoke with Drew. I know Jay came out the other day and looked. I met with the fire department to make sure everything was up to snuff. I've met with Councilor Forrest, Councilor Kroll, Councilor Large and DeBona. I talked to Detective Lieutenant Tarowski about any concerns. I've been there 25 years. Most of my staff has been with me a long time. We always do a good job. You never have any problems with us. We're going to do it right. It's going to be beautiful. Definitely a huge improvement to that little bit of an eyesore that I have to say I take credit for that I own. And we're going to, after talking to Drew, we're going to remove our dumpster, so I will take that out of the mix as well, and also the grease barrels that stay out back. Going to get those out of the way as well too. Met with the Nichols, MJ Nichols company, who I think most of you are familiar with. They're the ones that designed the plan that you have in front of you. They'll be doing all the landscaping work. It's basically just a big landscape property. Other than that, I think it's relatively straightforward. I've talked to, I think, some of you already about it. Happy to answer any questions you may have as to how it's going to go, or what you think you'd like to see. But we're looking to create 5 more jobs, create a lot more tax revenue through that season. I think it should be good for everybody. It's helping to improve the Washington Street corridor, which I know, because I hosted an event for the mayor, is kind of a big thing. You guys trying to get traffic down through Washington into the new center. So hopefully this will help beautify it a little bit and bring it up to snuff. I think that's it.
As far as the dumpster goes,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I think it's a great idea if you deal with the dumpster and you go to the totes.
Yep.
You'll probably end up doing pickup 5 days a week. It's going to be a lot cleaner, a lot less messy, and you'll have a lot less odors because it's going to be getting picked up on a much more regular basis.
I agree. That's why
I think
we
it's gonna
decided to go
clean up
that
the back
way.
area very well. Before I turn it over to the board, I'm going to ask any members of the audience have any comments, questions, or concerns. Just write up one at a time and state your name and address. And
my name is Kerry Byrne. I think I know most of you. I'm a public relations and hospitality consultant for the city of Quincy. I just want to speak strongly in support of Mr. DeBona's request here. One, as he said, as you know, he's been a highly reputable operator here in the city of Quincy for 25 years to celebrate his anniversary. 2, what he's trying to do, open air hospitality, I think is essential to the image and perceived quality of life of any community. Any great city has a very vibrant kind of open air hospitality system, and livening up that corridor between Quincy Center and the South Shore, I think makes Quincy just look better and look more livable. You want a more vibrant place to live, which is good for everyone who lives here. And thirdly, this is a great public relations opportunity. I think when Mr. DeBona does this, we're going to be able to generate a lot of attention for the community, for what's going on in Quincy, in addition to all the things here in Quincy Center, which are now generating so much attention across Greater Boston and New England. This is another asset, another kind of quiver in our arsenal to talk about all the great things going on here, not just immediately in Quincy Center, but now starting to spread out to the neighborhoods around it. So I think it's be a great asset for the city of Quincy. Thank you.
Anybody else want to come up and say anything?
I got just one quick question.
Sure, come on up. Say your name and address.
John Roosevelt, 62 Brumwell Road. Is the smoking be allowed on the patio?
Smoking is allowed on the patio under the city ordinances. It's an outdoor venue area. It's not an enclosed area. Smoking is allowed, whether he wants to allow.
Okay. But I mean, like as the representing the police, what if people, can you smoke medical marijuana out there?
I don't know.
If you had your car, would it be legal?
Because
I'm a member of the Tourist Party, and ever since they tore down, they, the Galvins built some sort of weird garage for limos. There used to be like a marsh that used to be there where people, it gave us some, some hiding basically. It's all like wide open and stuff. I'm gonna have to suggest, this is nice. I'm not usually like in support of anything, but I'm in support of this because Cagnes is a good neighbor and stuff, and maybe we won't keep seeing him up here asking for an outdoor patio because he'll have a full-time one now all the time. But basically, like I said, I would love to find a nice place in the area that was friendly. So that is nice. I could walk over there. Thank you.
anybody else? Come right up and state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Chanette, and I've owned a plumbing company in Quincy for 41 years.
I have your letter here. I was going to read it in after everybody was done, but
Sure.
you can do it now.
So I want to go on record as strongly opposed to this. They're talking about smoking. We had a fire in my building, as the chief was present at the time, and it ravaged the back of the building in a matter of seconds. It's a 100-year-old building. Both of those buildings are pretty old. This is going to be in an alcove or an alleyway surrounded by residential buildings. And I assume you mentioned it's going to be a cedar fence susceptible to fire. There's going to probably be heaters out there susceptible to fires. Embers from the cigarettes can travel. That's an alcove. If there's rubbish out there, you have another means of fire. Not to mention that there's tenants and families living in those buildings very, very close to this area. And they've had their privacy all these years, and it's going to be disrupted. There's going to be drinking, there's going to be commotion, there's going to be smoking up there. He says he's going to monitor this, and Mark is a good neighbor. But it's going to be pretty difficult to monitor that from 2 buildings down, and that's where his property is right now. This is not adjacent to the building. This is on the other side of an additional business. And it abuts my property. It's going to be within feet of my property. So I'm very much concerned about that. And it's going to be an addition to the restaurant. So also my concern is bathroom requirements by the city, by the town, building into things. If he's going to put 50 extra seats out there, I think that has to be addressed. The lighting, as I mentioned in my letter, and he's going to eliminate 2 legal parking spaces. To my knowledge, those are the only 2 legal parking spaces that Mark has assigned to that building. Going to put a further burden on me and the abutters with the relocation. There was some talk about the dumpster being relocated. I haven't seen anything on that. Or the dumpster totes being used instead.
Right.
It's not, I'm not clear on what that's all about.
It's the 96-gallon, the big blue trash barrels.
Okay. We've had a rat problem over the years. I've had it serviced on many occasions. My employees have come to work in the morning and after retrieving it, watch the rats drink the water from the downspouts. So, like any restaurant, this is susceptible to.
I think all the whole rodent issue will be eliminated in this area.
I hope so. But like I say, it does present problems to me as an abutter, and my overriding concern is fire, because we've had a terrible fire before. It was a matter of seconds before the whole back of the building was in flames.
You planning on any heaters out there?
We haven't discussed it yet. I was actually listening quite interesting when he was speaking about it. I've been doing some homework on it, to say the truth, the difference between the propane, the gas, the electric. I don't know that much about that yet, so it's kind of just been in homework mode like everything else right now. Obviously, I haven't purchased anything. I met with one of the members of the fire department the other day, was out doing a routine inspection. We didn't really get around to talking to that yet. I just figured it added to my laundry list of things to do.
Well, anything that has to be done with heating or anything else like that, has to get approval from the fire department and the building department, so that we don't cause a fire. So that's why they're here, so.
My guess would be that would primarily be either very beginning or very end of season.
Right.
I mean, we had such a hot summer this year, I can't imagine anybody was using them, so. I would say probably towards the end of the season, which was one question I did have. I know you said that the days of operation are Columbus Day to Patriots Day, or the other way around. Would it be possible if everything goes forward to stay till like the end of October open so we could have our construction done, our landscaping done, and then a week or two of kind of troubleshooting so we go into the winter and address any things that might have come up? So we're not non-operational after we open. Like that.
You think you'd be operational by?
According to MJ Nichols, who's going to be doing all the work, they think it's about a 3-week project. It's mostly landscaping. It's really just a lot of, tearing out the old decrepitness and putting in a paver patio and then installing fence. It's not really, there's no structure, there's no building, things like that. There's no heat, there's no electricity.
What I would suggest is that if it is approved, that you come back for maybe a 1 weekend
As it gets closer,
extension
sure.
for one, and then we can play it out from there, you can work on it, but that's if it's approved.
Sounds fair.
The lighting also is an issue with me and my tenants, because of close proximity of that alleyway. It's gonna be late night, there's gonna be commotion, there's gonna be drinking, and it's gonna be disruptive to them. And there's families on both sides. So it's in an alleyway, I don't know if you saw the pictures, I sent some pictures, but it's sandwiched between 2 buildings with a commercial building behind. And there's a roof issue, fire roof issue on that building behind it also, so again, that's.
Excuse me, Mr. Chanel, how many tenants do you have in that building?
4, including the business. I sold the business to my employees, my former employees.
So the apartments, how many?
3,
3 apartments?
yes, yeah, plus the 4th, the plumbing shop itself is still in operation there.
It's, and what is this zoned as? The area zoned as?
It's a business zone.
It's a business zone.
There's the door that goes out to the patio right here. Is that part of your space?
It's in the other side.
What is that door? Oh, not you, I'm sorry. I should be asking Mark.
Sure. Mark
That's the best.
has access to the patio from his service, from his back.
Actually,
Right, from the shed.
just to clarify a little bit, the whole property on the right-hand side of this proposed area, I own. It's part of my realty company, so we own the one apartment that is in
This
question.
building here?
I own all of that.
Okay.
That whole block.
But, okay.
I own all of that. So my tenants that live in the apartment above, as part of our lease this year, we have new tenants this year.
And this adjusts.
That is all mine, that's what we want
That's
to
the front
rent out.
entrance to my.
That, no, that's
Yeah.
the, where your finger's touching is Mr. Chanet's.
Yeah, that's a
We're
wooden,
talking about the area directly to the
Right.
right of that.
Right.
the wooden railing that
This
leads
is
to the
the
front
shed.
porch that the tenants access.
Can I see the front picture?
You certainly.
And the exits on the road that I saw were within inches of that walkway, where evidently, where evidently, no, it's not allowed on the property. But it's within inches of that walkway, the exits I saw, that Mr. Nichols, I believe, that laid down there.
Okay.
I can explain any of the photos to you here.
No, I get it now. This is it's a separate business.
It's a separate business, but the block is all owned by my realty company.
Okay. How many tables and chairs, how many folks are you thinking?
I'm anticipating somewhere probably around 50. It's about 12 to 1,300 square feet, depending on, Drew and I just kind of were discussing last week, removing the dumpster and to kind of get rid of that rodent problem and clean up that whole back area. So that's going to give us probably a little more room to play with, but we still have to accommodate like those totes that he's talking about so they can be wheeled out
Sure.
at night. So I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere right around probably 12 or 1,300 square feet.
This wall that you show here with the folding gate, it appears to go all the way to the sidewalk. Is
Well, it actually, it's just the way Nichols did it. It should be back a little bit further. We
that,
also have that.
you're not taking the sidewalk.
We have that, no, it's gonna be right at the end of the driveway. If you look there, you'll see
It's gonna
the,
go in line with the building.
correct. And there'll be an automatic, there'll be gates on the front to greet guests with the hostess. And then at night, there's also gonna be a separate gate on the side that has a crash bar on it, just in case, because it's an emergency exit from back there, if it ever is needed. And the front gates, we plan to do a 6-foot high wrought iron that'll be completely secure at night. And then the sides will be cedar fence and my building's on the right side, so there's no fence needed on that side, because it's gonna abut right up to my building.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other members have any other comments, questions? Come right up, state your name.
Yeah, my name is Martin Gordon, reside at 315 Rock Island Road. I stand on my roof and I see the property. That's all getting inside. I have watched with great interest what appears to be the evolution of patios associated with restaurants. And for the most part, what I've seen are freestanding structures connected, but pretty much open all the way around. I see this one here as being restricted in terms of structures surrounding it. I hear 1,200 square feet. I hear 50 patrons, which to me, I think triggers a whole different chunk of the building code vis-a-vis, all of a sudden, we've got into, different occupancy situations. And I'm concerned, and I respectfully request the board to at least consider taking a few moments here and looking at this globally, seeing how this thing is going to work out with regard to building department requirements, fire department requirements for egress, for emergency lighting. It just seems that this is moving a little bit too quickly, and I'm just one citizen offering my views. But I'm very much concerned that this seems to be a little bit out of control for what it's worth.
Any other members of the audience have any comments, questions?
My name is David Chenette at 72 Market Road, Quincy. I just want to echo some of the issues that were just stated by Mr. Gordon, that I also believe that this is a fad or a trend that could easily be considered a fad, that everybody wants an outdoor patio, every restaurant, every bar. I know that the basic issues, the noise issues, the smoking issue. Mr. Gordon, I agree with what he stated. This is a little different. It's an enclosed area. It's not out on the sidewalk. It's not a place where if something goes wrong, people can scatter. You're going to have a wrought iron fence closing this in. What kind of an opening are we going to have? What kind of enclosure on the side of my brother's business? I think these are issues that take a little bit more thought than just whether or not this is going to be a nice thing to have or a nice addition to a business. I know it's one business versus another business, but sometimes they do butt heads. One business doesn't always go compatibly with another business. I think those things have to be taken into consideration. Thank you.
Any other members of the audience have any comments or questions? I have one letter that I'm going to read into the record. Mr. Chenette I have a letter from Mr. Chenette that will go into the record. He's already spoken. It says, good evening, my name is Connor Sullivan and I reside at 34 Edward Street in Quincy, Mass. My wife and I would oppose outdoor seating at Cagney's Bar on Washington Street due to the noise. My house is set on a hill on Edward Street and it is noisy enough with all of the traffic on Washington Street, which is below my house. The echo can be really loud at times and our bedroom is in the back of the house near Washington Street. My wife and I greatly enjoy Cagney's, but the added outside noise would be too much. Thank you for hearing our concerns during this process. Sincerely, Connor J. Sullivan. And anybody else? Councilor LaForest?
Thank you. I just wanted to, I submitted earlier for the record a copy of the letter to the abutters that myself and Councilor Kroll sent dated August 11th. This was sent to 265 abutters, notifying them of a neighborhood meeting as well as to contact the licensing board or to attend this hearing. Mr. Chenette actually will look into, said he did not, and he is a direct abutter, receive the mailing, which I was very disappointed to here tonight. I did respond to his email and submit it for the record. I feel like in conversing with Mark that a lot of the concerns have been addressed. For example, the dumpster, I feel like that's something that was making an improvement on. It was referenced earlier, it's a business fee zone. The residential, while I am sympathetic to noise, and I do feel that's a very valid concern as we're permitting these, but it comes back to me for zoning, this isn't allowed business use, and this is an opportunity for this business owner to optimize their business use. So myself, of course, did help host this meeting, give this opportunity. We've heard from who we've heard from. Councilor DeBoer actually over the weekend asked me to voice his support because I'm able to attend this meeting. I think one of the things in getting to know Mark is that what he did with Cagney's as a business is owned for 25 years, and then once he bought this building, the improvements he's made along the Washington Street corridor are commendable. We've seen a lot of improvements with the blighted properties going down to now being renovated into the South Coast Manor. I think that patio, while it could be a trend, it's a trend I know myself I enjoy. I've permitted about 5 of these patios for businesses in the district, have the same process for every single one, neighborhood meeting, communications, put it on my website, social media, and noise has been a concern at every single board meeting. I have yet myself to receive one complaint now that all of these have been implemented. So we've done Risotto, we've done Grumpy's, we've done Foodies. As I look at kind of the tightness of them, I think that Cagney's has a bigger space than, say, Hancock Tavern, the Assembly. You have these. So to me, it really comes down to parity for the restaurant owner as, what are the improvements to make? How do we capitalize on the business? How do we make improvements? And I'll say that Washington Street is the gateway to our downtown. What is the environment? What is the quality of life and the hospitality that we want to be offering our community? So I would like to express my support to the board this evening for the application. Thank you.
Last call for anybody else in the audience? Comments, questions? Seeing none, we will close that section of the hearing, and I'm going to open it up to the board. Any board members have any questions? Chief now.
The door that you show opening here with the panic hardware?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's after your business closes, is that going to be operating?
It would be if, so for example, if for whatever reason somebody got over the fence, or there would be an access to get out of it, but not to get into it.
Okay, so
It would just open out onto the sidewalk.
you're not going to put a padlock?
Yeah, it has to have the crash bars,
Right.
like we have on the inside of the
Sure.
restaurant, so if
Okay.
somebody has to get out, you just hit it and you go.
Okay. Could you tell me what is the occupancy of your restaurant?
98.
98. And you have an entertainment license?
We do not.
And you're proposing 50 in here?
Approximately, yes. It's, until we really do the landscaping and design it and figure out type of furniture and whatnot, that's about what we're estimating.
I think we should put a number in this because it is so confined.
The gate across the front that was designed by Nichols is a 16-foot opening, so there'll be 2 8-foot gates that will swing all the way open and back. So ultimately, almost the entire, half of the front, when you walk in, will be wide open, probably almost as wide as your desk here, for easy access in and out.
And will you have food service out there?
There will be food service out there. We're going to do a limited menu off of our regular restaurant menu. There'll also be an exit off the back of it that will exit into the restaurant. So there'll be a gate on the backside as well as you see it on the diagram. But very limited menu, probably maybe a dozen items or so outside.
So you don't have an entertainment license, so there would be no amplified music out there?
Do you mean like background music or live entertainment?
Well, usually when these are approved, they're approved without amplified music, so.
So my plan would be to put some background music out, like dining music outside, so that it's not just dead air, but no live without special permitting.
Are we doing a noise ordinance? I would be governed that.
That would fall underneath the noise ordinance and Mr. Duca. And again, that would be, I'm assuming it would be, again, what he's talking about is background music so that you and I could still carry our conversation.
Correct.
While.
Correct.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Is there going to be any sporting events out there? TVs?
I would hope so, yes.
TVs out there?
A little shouting, TVs, commotion?
I'll be honest,
Bear pong.
TVs, you and I never talked about TVs out there. That does raise, they did make it's a valid point as far as the noise goes with TVs out there. I don't know how important that is. And I think we probably only have maybe 2 that might actually have TVs outside. I know that the Darcy's up on Willard Street has a TV in their little outside patio area. And theirs is actually enclosed, very similar to what yours is, but theirs is a stone wall that they've kind of created in their little patio area. The Integrate Point has a TV out there. I believe the Fowler House has a TV out there in theirs.
Cronin's.
Does Cronin's have a TV outside?
A Kino TV or a real TV?
Real TV. I don't think Cronin's
Is that
has.
Kino the one in Kino?
I don't know, I don't know if that.
So, I mean, I don't know if we want to restrict the TV and then just allow the, so I'm not really sure where you'd have the TVs set up.
That's a good question. Haven't really entertained that for the season at all. The primary focus for this season to be to work with Engineer Nichols, get the landscaping done. Like I say, it's basically a big landscaping project. Hopefully open a little bit at the end of next month, get a little bit of trial run for my staff. Then we have all winter to address, staffing issues and logistics and things like that.
So here's my concern. My concern is next year, we have a Sunday night Patriots game in early September at 8 o'clock at night, and people are all geared up, and I sympathize with the neighbors on that aspect of it, because I scream at the TV all the time.
So how would you propose handling it?
I would suggest if it's passed, it'd be passed just with the music, as far as background music, where you're not going to be engaging or encouraging other people to be, screaming and yelling at the TV. And again, I'm just one person, but I'd like to see what the,
I think that makes sense. It is an enclosed area. You do have apartments on either side, even though you own one. Very difficult for a tenant to voice a complaint if they're trying to sleep and it's their landlord's property. So I think it's reasonable to limit that.
Okay, sounds fair.
any other board members have any other questions, comments? No, the hours are similar to what we spoke to. 11 o'clock, it's closed down, stop serving food at 10, everybody off by 11.
Yep, absolutely.
That would eliminate a lot of the, I think that eliminates a whole lot of the noise issues after 10 o'clock. And I would imagine that on a Monday or Tuesday night, if it's not busy out there, or if it's not busy, you'll be closing it at 9 o'clock.
Correct. We may not even open it on a Monday or Tuesday night, especially at the beginning and the end of the season.
Right.
It may not be financially worth it, or to bring on more labor and more help to make no money. They're not going to want to do that.
So I have another comment too. Do you own, or how much do you own in front of your building?
We actually have a double sidewalk.
Right.
So a regular sidewalk, I believe, is 4.5 or 5 feet. I'm not even exactly.
I know, do you own it or is it all city?
No, half of it is mine, half of it is the
yours.
city's.
Okay,
So
when you did your one-day extension,
okay.
it was in that area of the front of the building that you're talking about.
Exactly.
Okay.
That now would only be an egress, like back and forth. So where I own half of the sidewalk, the width, we have that naturally protected walkway that's part of my own property, where people can walk back and forth easily from the patio to the restaurant without impeding public sidewalk at all. We made sure that it was all the way it was laid out, and DigSafe came out and actually looked at the property as well.
So I know this is a huge investment.
Pretty big.
I mean,
I've been investing a lot of money on
I
that
know.
property.
And my only other comment is, did you think maybe you should try to just do an extension of premise for maybe, 8 tables or 4 tables in the front of your building like you did for the one-day extension for the party? and see how that goes for a season to see whether or not it would be worthwhile to invest the amount that you are going to invest on the other side. I know when you had that one-day event, it was really, really busy, and it gets you excited, and it's like, oh my God, if we had this all the time, imagine what we would be doing. I hate to see you invest $80,000 and then not have people be out there.
Well, that comes with any, when I bought that
Yeah,
property.
exactly.
When I bought that property and spent all that money remodeling it, you don't know if it's gonna change or not. It is what it is. That's the cost of doing business. I've been business, self-employed for over 30 years.
Yep.
I think I have a really good sense of what's going on. I know what the city's going for. You look around, Quincy Center Township has outdoor patio. It's the way people are going. I'm confident that we can run it well, my staff can handle it well. I actually think it's less invasive where I'm proposing than on the sidewalk. When you're on that sidewalk, I'm trying to say this as politely as possible, there's a lot of foot traffic, and it's not you and your wife walking by on 9 o'clock at night. It's not
social services up the street. Yeah.
It's not going to be the most idealistic place to sit in front of Peggy's on the sidewalk and have a nice dinner and a glass of wine with your wife. We're talking about completely privacy, enclosing it, landscaping it, nice shrubberies that'll also help with the sound, the fences, soundproof. You're talking about a much more, from my perspective, a much more manageable situation with less attempt of, that sidewalk's not that big.
I just want to throw it out there.
I'm confident that the risk will pay off.
That's all I care about.
I've had various things so far in Quincy, and I think I'm doing well.
Okay. Board members, any other comments or questions?
I have a comment. I'm going to support this because the city encourages patios, and I think, in all fairness, you should have a shot at it as well. Excuse me. But make no mistake, the chief brought up some good points. There are some challenges with respect to the occupant load. There's some cumulative effects of the occupant load. There's some width of doors. This all has to be investigated, and I'm going to invite you down to my office tomorrow. We can talk about that. It can be overcome, and it's cut and dry, but you're going to have to figure a way to, there are some building code issues that you're going to have to overcome. And I think you can, and I think you are a good operator. The noise can be regulated by the license that you hold. It also could be regulated by the noise ordinance. So I'm not concerned with that. I trust that you'll be a good operator.
Thank you.
We'll go for it.
It's a busy street, as we all know anyway. It's not like a side street where you can hear a pin drop. Washington Street there's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of noise out there daily.
My biggest complaint on Washington Street is when the sewer cover gets lifted up and put back, and it's not put back properly, and cars go over that sewer cover, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's loud. And that has nothing to do with you.
No, it's a busy street. When police and fire and ambulance go up and down the street, it's a busy street. There's definitely some noise out there. But yeah, I can meet you at your office first thing in the morning, figure out exactly what you want to change.
Yeah,
No
tomorrow morning.
Whatever's easier for you. I think you've worked with MJ Nichols before. They've done work around the city.
Yep.
So he was kind of taking the lead on, how we're going to set up and design it and stuff. And obviously, I talked to Paul McCarthy at Building. I think you and I were communicating by email a little bit about what was going on. So I think I've tried to do the best I can to address each and everyone's individual concerns of the city. Like Margaret had said, we held a neighborhood meeting, we invited over 200 people, and nobody showed up to even complain or endorse. So I think I've done everything I can possibly do to make it as straightforward and clear cut as I can, and as easy for everybody to help this move forward.
So before we look for a motion, does anyone else have any comments, questions?
I'm going to make a motion to limit the occupancy to 50 persons, which may further be reduced depending on what happens with the building code review.
No TVs?
No TVs.
No TVs. They can go inside and watch TV.
There you go.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of MDB Inc., DBA Cagney's Restaurant, 214 Washington Street, represented by Mark DeBona, the manager, for the alteration of premises and outside patio of approximately 1,200 square feet of the existing all-alcoholic restaurant license, with conditions of there being TVs, and the occupant load would be limited to 50 persons.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, grant the request of MDB Inc., DBA Caddy's Restaurant, 214 Washington Street, Mark DeBona manager, for the alteration of premise outside patio, approximately 1,200 square feet of the existing all-alcohol restaurant license. Maxed out at 50 people with no TVs and light background music, no amplified music. And we mean live bands and stuff. I'm gonna call a roll call vote on this. Chief Allen,
Yes.
Director Duca,
Yes.
City Clerk Crispo,
Yes.
Captain Dugan, yes on it also. I do sympathize and I do understand the neighbors' concerns, and if we do have issues with noise, we can always bring them back up and address it, so. All in favor?
Aye.
We're good.
Thank you very much. You won't be disappointed. We'll do it right.
The good news is,
With that, we have the notification by the Mass State Lottery that 7-Eleven at 721 Hancock Street is going to be displaying Keno to Go. We get these regular notices and updates. We have no issues with that. That being said, do I have a motion to waive the reading of the last minute and accept it?
Motion made.
All in favor? Aye. That concludes the meeting of the Board of License Commissioners on September 13th, 2016. Thank you very much.